Welcome back to the Chicago Tomahawk. I'm Mike, and I got my linemate Matt with me. And today we're going to go over some news. We are back to podcasting weekly. We had a nice summer break. Took some time off, which we both really needed. It's a long hockey season, and we try to put these out every single week. But before we dive into all of the hockey news, Johnny Gaudreau passed away. Him and his brother passed away a couple weeks ago from they got hit by a driver. I think the guy was drinking. They were biking at night, and they both got hit, and they both passed away, which is incredibly unfortunate. And to everyone involved, they were supposed to stand up in their sister's wedding the next day, and just a complete travesty. Hey, Matt, when did you hear about that?
Yeah, I saw rumors on Twitter about there's been reports that Johnny Hockey was hit by a drunk driver, and this was early in the morning. I was kind of getting ready for work. I think it was like 3 a.m. And then there was a lot of comments saying, "Oh, this guy's full of it. There's no proof, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Oh, gee, I hope it's a hoax,"
Yeah.
And I got the message from you. I believe it was I think it was a Friday. And you said, "Hey, did you hear about Johnny Hockey?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, it's got to be true." And I click it, and sure enough, it was. And yeah, just absolutely terrible.
It just goes to show you, man, that, tomorrow's not guaranteed, and you just never know what's going to happen. It's just terribly unfortunate. He did a lot for, Calgary. He made them somewhat relevant again, and they had that one, he had a few good seasons there, but the season his last season there, I think he had over 100 points. Matthew Tkachuk had over 100 points. And, you would
That
think
was a
that he
tough
would have
year for them.
stayed.
Yeah. It was a
Yeah.
very tough year for the fans just to lose those two guys for absolutely nothing. Well,
Yeah.
Kachuk did say, I'm not going to resign, trade me. They brought in some guys, but Johnny Hockey left for free, and that was tough. And he's still loved there. I know a lot of people, I mean, they cheered him when he came back, and, there were some people that were probably upset that he left for a team like Columbus, which was very strange that year, seeing the Johnny Hockey signing with the Columbus Blue Jackets of all the teams that were interested. But they probably gave him an extra amount of money he needed, and he's playing hockey for a career, and it's got to be awesome. And I hear good things. A lot of players like retiring there, the Midwest. I hear the same thing about St. Louis, and he chose the Blue Jackets, and it kind of put them on the map a little bit for free agency. And I know the current Blue Jackets players were, they were all speaking and saying they were very grateful that he chose them, and he somewhat put them on the map again.
It's really unfortunate for the Columbus Blue Jackets organization and their fan base, man, that they've had to deal with I believe it's been two travesties in the past, 2 to 3 seasons.
3 years,
One,
yeah. Yep.
yeah, one they had the goalie who had a freak. Was it a fireworks accident? And
Yeah,
then,
I'm blanking on his name. I feel terrible, but he was very promising. They had high hopes for him, and yeah, I heard he used his body as a shield to protect some of the people that were there, and he ended up getting killed. It's just awful, man. It's just this poor team has had to deal with this stuff. And last year it wasn't really serious, but remember they brought in Mike Babcock, and there was allegations with him being abusive to players, and then they fired him. So this is the third season in a row where they've had to start off with something negative like this, and I just don't know how these guys are going to do it this year, because this is going to be tough for these guys.
I was also hearing that it's possible that the Blue Jackets could get some kind of like a cap exception or something like that. And if you really think about it, man, the NHL should be able to do something like that for them. Like, I don't think they should be penalized, for
Yeah,
cap wise.
no. I mean, I'm sure with the CBA, there's probably a term of, if God forbid something like this happened, hopefully the Goudreau family is taking care of Johnny Hockey's wife and two kids and stuff like that. I hope the Blue Jackets do take care of them. Yeah, but yeah, it's weird. It's almost like, yeah, I think he's like a $12 million hit. So, and he's not alive anymore. I don't think the Blue Jackets would have to, take on that cap. But it's just a disaster. Man, it's so sad that they have to. I mean, he was a piece, man. He was an important piece to this. They're building something there, and it's just I can't. It's so hard to like get back into the business side of it. It's like, hey, we just lost the guy and very important piece, and now we have to figure out what we're going to do. And it's got to be extremely tough. I can't imagine what these players are going to go through this season.
Yeah. Well, in other hockey news, Leon Draisaitl signed his 8-year extension with the Edmonton Oilers, $14 million per, which is he's the highest paid player in the league right now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the richest player of all time. So good for him. I mean, he's very good, second best player in the world, probably behind his teammate Connor McDavid. So it's going to be very, very interesting what old 97 is going to get.
Yeah, because you would think that the negotiations start at 14 million, and even saying that, what if he's like, you know what, I'm going to stick at 12.5, and because Draisaitl was underpaid for a long time, and I think if McDavid was smart, if he really wanted to win, if he just sticks at his current salary, they might be able to put an extra couple pieces in there.
I mean, that would be the cool thing to do. I mean, I think McDavid sits at 10 million. I want to say I think he had that $80 million deal with 10 million at 8 years. I think very similar to Jack Eichel's when he signed with Buffalo, and then they ended up moving him, obviously. But yeah, if he takes a big pay cut, this team's going to be competitive still. But if he takes that, I want to match what Leon's getting, my boy Leon. It's going to be very tough.
12.5.
12.5 this season or
No,
every
it
year?
was 100 million contract for 8 years.
Okay, so he's not going to go below that. I doubt it. So he can stay the same, get a little raise, or we talked about this before. Stan Bowman is probably not the right guy to be doing all this stuff because he's not really a cap mastermind. He obviously he paid Kane and Taves, but Kane and Taves did win 3 Stanley Cups and numerous awards, and they earned it. These guys haven't won anything. Very close, scoring titles, individual awards and stuff, but they didn't get the big championship trophy yet. So
They were 2 goals away, man.
2 goals away is still not a cup, so they're
It's
very
not.
close. And I know Connor is hungry. I remember last season they everybody pretty much when they had that coaching change, oh, they're done. And they went on like a 17-game win streak and just completely shocked everybody. McDavid turned it up, almost caught those guys, Kucherov and McKinnon in the scoring race. That's how crazy he was. Yeah, man, they got a lot of work to do. Bowman better learn from his mistakes with Chicago. Don't overpay the middle class. And hopefully you can find cheaper assets that do more to make this team competitive because it didn't work in Chicago once he started overpaying these middle class guys.
Yeah, he did. We can give credit where credit is due, man. He did make some key trade deadline acquisitions that helped win cups, but at the same time, those acquisitions cost big time.
Well, here's the thing. The one contract that I didn't understand was Brandon Saad's. I didn't understand Brian Bickles. You signed him he had a good playoff series. That's it, or a good playoff run, and you gave him he went from 2 to almost 4.5 a year or whatever. And then you wanted to get rid of him because he was so bad, and you had to give up Teuvo, a top prospect we had, who was probably would still be on the team if you think about it. Good little centerman we had. Even Kane had some, high things to say, high praise for him. We had to get rid of Teuvo just to move that contract. So there's a lot of mistakes he made. Obviously, the Breadman. I thought the Breadman signing was great, and then you give him a 2-year extension at $6 million per. But you trade him for Brandon Saad at $6 million per for an extra 2 seasons. But look at the Breadman; he's a phenom. So
Yeah.
it's just there's some head scratchers. And he ended up getting offer sheeted from Doug Armstrong and the Blues, 2 solid players, young guys, and the Blues sneaky. They took them, and Stan took the draft picks, and hopefully it works out for him. But I guess he didn't have a choice when you got to pay these guys. These big top dogs got to get paid, and in the end, I guess the top dudes, they bring in the money. They score the big goals. They get the big points. They're on the ice in the big moments. But you know what? In the playoffs, if you got a deep team, you're going to make a lot of noise. I think that they lacked that, especially defense. I thought the defense for the Oilers was a little weak. Bouchard was a surprise, but he's going to have to get paid too. Darnell Nurse is way overpaid, like somewhat Seth Jones-like contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, dude. It's really hard. Not a lot of teams, once they make the final, it's very hard for them to get back to it. I credit the Panthers. Usually, when you make it to the final, like the next season, you're burned out and you barely make the playoffs. But they were hungry, man. They snuck in that year. They made it to the final. They lost. They were beat up. Kachuk was, barely able to even put a shirt on. That's how bad he was.
Yeah.
And this season, they were on a mission and they won it. I don't know if the Oilers can do that.
Like, you don't think that they have that kind of grit?
I don't think they have the team that's deep enough to do what Florida did. I think Florida had, they got Bob and Net. He had a great resurgence this season. And, Florida, they got a solid top 6. They got Barkov, who's a solid Selke-like guy. Kachuk, the game breaker. You got that Connor Verhaeghe who just shows up in big moments. Sam Bennett hit 50 goals this year. Who knows if he's going to do it again? But he ended up staying. Bob, they got those good defensemen. Forsling, the former Blackhawk, who absolutely was a steal for those guys. They high praise for him. Ekblad. Yeah, they got a deep team, dude. I think that Florida is still a threat this season. They're almost the same team. The same core is going to be, facing the league this year when defending the cup. So Oilers, it's going to be tough, man. It's very hard to make it to the final back to back.
I was speaking of Sam Bennett, when you have these guys, say even Zach Hyman, right? 50 goals, both of them. Do you think that these guys are going to hit 50, or do you think they're just going to come around 30 to 35?
I could see Zach Hyman doing it again, because if you look at his charts, all of his goals are within 10 feet of the net. He's just a gritty garbage man, Thomas Holmstrom type dude.
Right.
And, hey, crosses the line, it's a goal no matter where it's shot from. So,
sure.
I mean, you're playing with McDavid or you're playing with Draisaitl, guys that fire the puck, they shoot a lot, and either you're going to get a tip, you're going to get a rebound, you're going to get a sweet pass that no other players could make passes like that to you, and you bury it. And he's the one guy I think that could repeat it. Obviously, Austin Matthews, I think he's going to get probably close to 50 again unless he gets hurt. I think Connor Bedard could get very close. I think he's going to hit 40 for sure this year. But Sam Bennett, it's going to be really hard for him, I think. But if he keeps shooting the puck, I mean, you want guys that want to shoot the puck, and he's one of those guys. So it could happen, but very hard to get 50 back to back.
Yeah, Chris Kreider's another one. He's another one of those types of guys where, he had 52 that one year, and then he had 36 the year after that and 39 after that. But he's probably getting paid for that year he scored 50.
But, yeah, well, you can't forget either the Breadman. He shot the puck more this year. He scored 49. He was one away from 50, which would have been very impressive because he's always been considered that playmaker. And for some reason, he got selfish this year and he started firing the puck. And good on him. Shoot it, because his shot's amazing. I love when
Yeah,
him and Kane were on the ice and Breadman was firing a one-timer over the goalie's shoulders. You
sure.
need a guy like that. And I hope Bedard, I hope the Hawks management, coaching staff, anybody, even his teammates, kid, shoot the puck. We know you could pass, but we need you to shoot the puck because his shot is just like one of those top guys. He's got a great shot, great vision, and he can release it like no other. So I hope he gets that memo too. Shoot, shoot, shoot.
Before we go any further, I want to let everybody know that Teddy, taking it to the house, whatever you call a touchdown, they matter more at DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports partner of the NFL. Ready to place your NFL bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score a touchdown. Personally, that's one of the best ways to bet on DraftKings to find guys. You can look into stats, say like on NFL.com, look at stats, and maybe look at the top 10 guys and see who's scoring touchdowns. I usually do that and pick a few and usually hit some bets that way. But do what you are most comfortable with. Just want to put that out there if you're looking to put some bets on guys to score touchdowns. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the number one place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code ShyTomahawk. That's code ShyTomahawk for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 and get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Got a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies on jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus Premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus Premium terms at NFL.com/terms. So, Matt, Matthews is now the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I've always found it odd when you have a captain, you take the captaincy away, and you give it to somebody else. I've always thought that creates kind of a little bit of uh, a little funny
Little,
thing going on in the locker room. But then at the
little
same
awkward.
time, Tavares is like, maybe I can just sit back and play hockey now.
Yeah, I think Tavares is a classy guy. He knows this time is obviously on the back nine, maybe close to the 18th hole even. uh, he he took it good. He said he wanted to be a part of it and he wanted to kind of like a passing of the torch type of thing. Yeah, I agree with you. It's going to be a little awkward, It's got to be tough to, hey, you're the captain. We brought you in here to be the captain, and then your contract's kind of expiring, and it's like we're going to give it to this new guy, and it's happened before with Mike Modano. I believe in the early 2000s, they gave it to Brandon Morrow, and that was a head scratcher too because Modano was a Stars legend, pretty much spent his whole career with him till that point, and yeah, I don't think they're going to bring Tavares back unless it's like like a $2 million Kane like deal. But I mean, he really hasn't lived up to that contract, in my opinion.
Wow. I mean, I think he's a good player, man, but I mean, do you think that in order for him to live up to it, he need to score 100 points a year?
No, I think he had to. And it's hard. You can't blame one guy for their playoff problems, but
Right.
you gotta get the like when I saw that whole dramatic that bench thing with Nylander yelling at Marner or Marner yelling at Matthews or whatever it was. That shit would never happen with Taves on the bench. I
No.
guarantee you. that stuff would never happen with Chelios on the bench. Because Chelios would drag you to the locker room and beat the hell out of you and say you'd pull that shit again. Like, I know the cameras are different now. All eyes are on these guys, but I just think like maybe he lost it. He kind of lost that locker room as like as a voice, a captain. Because if you think about it, those are the big three now. Big three. They got Nylander, Marner, and Matthews all on the bench arguing about something, and I'm sure it happens all the time with teams. Like, of course, the cameras are in Toronto. They're gonna make stories out of all this stuff.
Yeah.
But man, I think that's when you need a guy on the bench to say, "Hey, cut that shit out. Stick to the game. Stick to the game plan, and let's go. We're brothers here. We got to play for each other." It almost seems like the blame game was being played in that little scenario that they had. So. If I'm Matthews, I'm going to keep playing my game because the dude's a scoring machine. He's going to be the best American goal scorer of all time, probably. Talk to your right-hand man, Mitch. Mitch, cut the goofy shit. Stop dancing in warm-ups. Let's get serious, especially in the playoffs. This is serious. It's good to be loose, but looking at the crowd, smiling at little girls and stuff like that. Cut that shit out. Let's go. Let's get serious. And Willie, if you're going to talk a big game, get to the boards, get the puck, get it to a defenseman, get it to another winger, take the hit like a man. Don't skate full speed to the puck, bail off because you don't want to get hit by a mean defenseman, because that's just as cowardly as the whole Marner shit that I've been hearing about. So that's what I would say. I'm different, but I think you almost gotta hold guys accountable and make sure everybody's on the same page as a captain.
Yeah, that's a really good point, man. Because it seemed like they were just disheveled on the bench, and it's like when you're in the playoffs, you never saw the Hawks like that, man. When they were winning, you never saw them pointing fingers or yelling
You
at
gotta
each other.
keep the composure. I saw Taves lose his composure once in the penalty box.
Yeah,
Who skated up to him? Brent Seabrook. Brent Seabrook said, "Hey, cut the shit out. Calm down. We're fine. Well, we're gonna be fine." That's another captain on the team telling the main guy, "Hey, you're gonna lose your composure over this. Don't do that. Just stick to the game plan. I know you're pissed, but we're gonna get through it." And sure enough, what happened? We won the
who won the
playoff
game?
series against the Red. We won the playoff series against the Red Wings.
Yeah,
I think that was 2013. It was very
yeah.
frustrating. We were down 3-1. They ended up coming back Game 7, and sure enough, Siebes, the man, buries them. So I feel like Toronto was missing that. You're missing that leadership. I mean, you can't blame Tavares for that. I mean, but these guys are all pros. They got to get on the same page, play for each other, do their job. And in the playoffs, you got to take hits. You got to make hits. You got to take hits. You got to do whatever it freaking takes. And the best
Yeah.
whatever it freaking takes guy out there is probably Matthew Tkachuk. And he proved that in the playoffs, you got to play like an animal. And he did. And he hoisted the cup. His name will be on the cup forever. So if they want to get past the playoff round, they have to play tough. And I think Craig Berube was the right guy to bring in because he's almost that type of guy. He knows how to do it. He did it with the Blues. He was mean in his career. That's somebody you want, holding the players accountable, giving you a kick in the ass when you need it. I think that was a great move by the Leafs this summer.
Speaking of like young guys, Bedard is probably going to hit. I don't want to say, I don't want to put any numbers out there. I think that he's going to get at a minimum 35 goals, but I think that he's going to be passing the puck a lot, man. Especially so that he can, you got to keep the goalie guessing. And if Bedard, if he shoots the puck every time he gets it, they're going to know that he's not going to pass it. I think Keener was a master of that. And
Yeah.
Connor Bedard is going to be coming into a time where his production is going to start coming up. Especially with some of the additions we've made onto the team. Do you think that when it comes contract time, what kind of money do you think this kid's going to be looking at?
Okay, I think I think Bedard is probably going to his starting point. I hope will be at 9, but I doubt it. I think it's going to be more towards probably 10 to 11, and possibly even 12 at that max 8 years. Which he's going to get 8 years no matter what the hit is, and we do have salary cap space, and you got to keep your guy happy. So I think that's a fair number to start off. Hopefully he puts up, and I mean if he puts up 45 this season and then another 40 after, he might even command more, which
Yeah.
would be worth it because he's that good.
Yeah. It's especially since it's going to be long term. Like, if, for instance, if you're Jack Hughes, you're kind of like, damn, I should have just waited a year before I
I
signed
should have
that
took
contract.
I should have took a bridge. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
man,
that's the
because
game. Yeah, that's the
it
game of it. I
is.
mean, hockey players are different, man. They like the security of term, I think.
Yeah.
And $8 million isn't bad. It's not a bad thing, but
In
when
New
you
Jersey, it is. You're getting taxed like crazy.
well, that's true. But when you put up almost 100-point season and then say this year he has a monster season, it's like, man, I'm only getting paid 8 million. But when that 8 million's up, he's going to be like, you know what? I took one for the team those years, so you know what? You guys are going to have to pay me. I could see him getting a big raise after those 8 years, but it's a long
Yeah.
time. I believe this is only going to be year 3 of that, so that's a lot of hockey.
Yeah, it is. It is. Man, that's just crazy to think about. So,
I remember, man, you were sick, and I did that podcast by myself, and that was the big news, and I'm like, wow. And
yeah,
I was looking at his 3 years of
he did nothing.
production, and I'm just like, wow, this is awful. I mean, they must really believe in this guy. Good on New Jersey. And hey, if I'm Jack Hughes, heck yeah, I'm going to sign that paper. I mean, you're
Yeah.
going to give me that, heck yeah. But then the next year, he has a huge jump in production, and
Yeah.
it's like, huh, maybe maybe this is going to be okay. Then the next year, 40 goals, 99 points. Okay, I think you got Jack Hughes for a steal. So it's
Yeah.
win-win. It's win. I think the win goes to the Devils organization because they're
Yeah,
going
I
to be able
agree.
to build a good team around him.
Yeah, I agree, man. Speaking of thinking about younger players and bringing up, they gave them the opportunity in the big league to fail and to play. And I'm hearing that Korchinski for the Blackhawks may start the year in the AHL. Now, saying that, you know, he's obviously not going to be getting top line minutes because that's for Vlasic and Jones for right now. But on that second line, they're going to have Alec Martinez. And I would think that you would want Korchinski on the other side of him, playing with him, learning, and having a solid, a line mate there. But there, rumors are saying that spot is for Connor Murphy, man. And then, on top of that, you don't want Korchinski playing on that third line pairing because he's just not going to be getting the playing time that he needs. So, do you think him going down to the AHL, playing top line minutes, is better than him um, playing third line minutes on the Blackhawks?
This is a tough one. Why wouldn't you just do that last year then? That's
Yeah,
my thing. If that's what you wanted to do, okay, you take the Reichel approach, the patience, which I was okay with at first, but when you mess with the kid's head and send him up and down, when virtually you don't do it to anybody else. I think they did it to Khrushchev like once, and the team had no expectations anyway. But
right.
yeah, I think Korchinski should play if it is Martinez, who is he's won Stanley Cups with the Kings and the Golden Knights, and that's a guy you want to learn from. Obviously, this is a guy that been through the grind, knows how to win. That's a guy you probably want with a young kid, and he probably knew he was signing with the Hawks. He's going to be a mentor. He's going to show guys, little ins and outs, little secrets, and just stuff to make you a better pro. I mean, Korchinski played 76 games last year. He had 15 points. Minus 39 wasn't good, but everybody was a minus. I think defensemen need games played. I think they need to be thrown into situations like playing against another team's top pair, getting penalty kill time, getting maybe a power play number two, moving the puck a little bit, being the quarterback on the blue line.
Right.
Just different situations, scenarios, and stuff. I think it would benefit Korchinski. I want him to get game experience, and yeah, the AHL, it's a different league. I mean, look at a lot of guys that been in this organization that ended up being very good in Rockford, got called up, and that was it. We never heard of them. I mean, they played in the NHL, and it's like, hey, these guys aren't good enough, and then they go from AHL team to AHL team, and sometimes they go overseas to keep playing. So it's really a different league, man. It's like you said, there could be a league in between it. That's
Yeah.
how crazy some skill levels are. But yeah, I think I would like to see Korchinski on the team, and if that means you have to move a guy like Connor Murphy or get the young guys in there. If anything, the best scenario to do is have, I would say, 4 good veteran defensemen and maybe 4 young defensemen. Obviously, you can't play them all; you can only play 6, but you can have guys in and out of the lineup, healthy scratches. You're going in today on back-to-back nights type of thing. I would like to see Classic play 82, Korchinski play 82, and whoever earns the final spot 82. And then you keep moving in those veteran guys to just, keep it respectable in the game. You want guys that can still, try to win every night. But we'll see. I guess it's the different approach than Reichel, which is kind of weird. I think Reichel's got a very short leash for some reason with this organization. Maybe because he was a Bowman guy. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I would definitely like to see old Korch, number 55, on the starting opening night roster.
Korchinski's not 55 anymore, man. He changed his number. I forgot what he changed it to, but
Oh, I think you're right.
our new draft pick, Artem, I gotta learn how to say that guy's name. He's
Lechinov,
55
right?
now.
Oh man, Eric Daze is going to be pissed. That's a bummer. You're right. He is number, shoot, I think 14. I think Korchinski
Yeah, that sounds right.
14. Yeah. Wow, interesting.
Well, all right, everybody. We want to know what you think. Should Korchinski start off the season on the opening night roster, or should he be down in the AHL and then bring him up later? Obviously, if there's going to be some injuries, he'll probably be the first one to come up. But we'll see. We've also got Nolan Allen and Ethan Del Maestro down there too. That are, these guys need to start coming up as well. So. I don't know. We'll see. Let us know what you think. Get us on Twitter, and we'll catch you on the next one. This is the Tomahawk. We're out of here.